Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspired disorder.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Them, a new series on Amazon Prime. It is a horror anthology series similar to American Horror Story. From what I've heard, Amazon has ordered 2 seasons of the show, so there will be a second season that will be released hopefully in the next year or two. But the first season of Them has been released. It does not have anything to do with Jordan Peele's movie Us, but it does share a lot of themes. It is a horror film. It has, discusses a lot of racism is a big part of the themes of this. PTSD, trauma, panic. It's got everything. For the most part, I think it's an amazing series. It takes a couple turns. There's aspects of it that I don't really feel, since it is a self-contained story in one season. I'm not going to be seeing any of these characters again. I think it ends fairly well. The way everything gets wrapped up at the end, because there is a supernatural part. Let me tell you what the premise of this is. So season 1 of Them takes place in 1953. A family, a black family from the South. I forget where. I want to say Georgia, but I don't know where they first started off. But a tragedy happens at this place. So they move west. They move to California. They move to Compton. But back in 1953, Compton was a newly developed community, suburbs, primarily white. So this show shows you kind of the racism that existed back in the day. It shows you not only just a person-to-person kind of racism, but also the systematic racism that is horrible, that is been part of the real estate business for a long time. This show, it shows how people of color were able to get loans that, like, in the contracts for real estate, says that they are not allowed to be sold to, they're not allowed to be owned by any Negro blood, anybody with Negro blood. So the real estate agent's like, don't worry about that. That's some old rule. They don't follow that anymore. But it is something that has been in real estate. I think it's probably still in real estate contracts in certain areas. I would not be surprised. But also the banks would charge them like almost credit card interest rates. It's just like an unbelief to purchase a home. So they were getting screwed over by a lot of people. In a lot of ways. Just the existence of being black in the 1950s in America could almost be a horror film on its own. I mean, this show, because it feels it's weird. There's a supernatural aspect to it. Some of the things the neighbors do when this family moves into their new home in Compton, like all of the housewives set up their card tables in front of their house and turn all of their radios on while they drink their midday whatever they're drinking. So it's just like, which is a crazy thing to see. Just like you look out your window, and all of your neighbors, all of the wives of your neighbors are perched out front, sitting at their card table, all playing different radio stations. So it's just like just like the most annoying kind of harassment. Like, these people will waste a full day just to make your day horrible. So if you just did a grounded, which I think a lot of the racism in this, I think a lot of this is on the nose, grounded kind of stuff, which you don't see whenever they set a movie or a TV show in the 50s. They don't show this kind of racism. They didn't show what America was like really in this time. Everything is so like softened and trying to be like they refilter the past to make it more palatable. because of how extremely horrible. And it's crazy. It's almost like they moved into a neighborhood full of Karens. And there's like a main Karen, the leader of the Karens in this neighborhood, just horrifying on its own level. Then you have the kind of trauma that happened, which you don't find out till a later episode, the trauma that happened where they used to live, which that episode is insane. I'll talk about that later. But you clearly see they have trauma. The mom has a ton of trauma. The dad, amazing. Like, as far as somebody acting as if they're having a panic attack or panic attacks in this show, never seen a panic attack portrayed in such realism. Same with the PTSD. Like, all of the trauma, not only the parents but the kids too have their own trauma. And that trauma is manifested in these supernatural things, because the house they moved into was at one point, like, there's an episode where they go back in time, which doesn't really fit in the show itself necessarily, but you're getting the backstory on some of the ghosts that are showing up, and you're kind of getting another piece of history from, what California was like in, like, I don't know, what, the 1800s or whatever. I don't know how far back they went to show this behind the scenes, or the kind of just kind of giving you the origin story for these ghosts and why they're showing up. Because a lot of the ghosts, I mean, they all have different ghosts too. The mom keeps seeing this ghost from the past that she doesn't know, but you get to see that episode that explains who that is and why she's seeing it. Then you have the dad who's seeing like a minstrel act kind of ghost. It's like a blackface, kind of that minstrel blackface look. And he's, talking to him and telling him, it's kind of like the devil on his shoulder, right? Then you have the daughter, the youngest daughter, is imagining or is seeing a ghost that's her, like this teacher that from one of her books that she idolizes, but this teacher beats her for being black, I'm sure. And then there's the older daughter who has basically an imaginary friend, or who she thinks she is, because she just wants to fit in her high school. So you get to see, like, the youngest daughter. Was she in school at all? I mean, the older daughter goes to school, and you see the racism that she had to deal with then. And just like there's a scene where she's in class, and she gets asked she answers a question, and then all of a sudden everybody's doing these monkey noises, super racist. And then the teacher, because the teacher doesn't know how to do anything, and this is like, as far as bullying is concerned, my experience in middle school when I got bullied is the teachers didn't give a fuck either. So I could see this being a clear and present kind of thing teachers used to do. The teacher gives her a slip to go to the principal's office for disrupting the class, that it's her fault that the class is doing monkey noises at her. But she just wanted to get her out, because it's like she doesn't want to deal with the fact that she's teaching a bunch of racist kids, and she herself is probably racist. But the performances are amazing. The way it's set up with the ghosts and everything, you could almost do this show without the ghosts, but it wraps up at the end where you see the supernatural stuff. You kind of see how the mom is kind of the leader in trying to help everybody defeat their ghosts. Meanwhile, trying to just survive in this neighborhood of people that don't want them there. You got cops that don't want them there, that, you get to see how they do stuff. But it's insane, man. There's a scene that the older daughter, because she wants to be white so bad, she covers herself in white paint and shows up to this bonfire with all these kids and starts doing a cheerleader dance. Just like a crazy scene. The youngest daughter, great performances. Like, she has different levels to being like concerned, super, like, just amazing acting. Like, all of these characters, amazing acting. Like you said, the dad, his portrayal of like having PTSD and trauma, amazing. The panic attacks, what he goes through, how they all reckon. So the trauma scene, spoilers, the trauma is insane. So what happened? Like, you kind of see what happened in the beginning, the first episode, where, you know, there's kind of like this country, out in the country, and this older white lady shows up and sings this song that's clearly a racist kind of white supremacist kind of a song about I think it's like a black man named Joe hanging from a tree. And then she sees that she has a baby son, and she wants to see the baby son, and then it cuts away. But clearly something happened to that kid. That old lady did something to it. And the episode where it shows what that old lady did, let's just say the term cat in a bag is so brutal that not only, I mean, the show shows it. I mean, you know, they show the trauma of not only what happens to the kid, but you know, the fact that the mom also gets raped by this woman's son. But what they do to that baby, let's just say cat in a bag, is a term that will forever just kind of trigger those thoughts of what happened in that episode. And I'm sure the reality of living in America at that time, in certain places in America, I'm sure even today there are people that would do a cat in the bag to a baby of color just because they have so much hate in their heart. But yeah, amazing show. I think it's like 10 episodes, close to an hour. They're like 40, 50-minute episodes. It's so well done. There's only one part. There's a part where the kind of head Karen gets kidnapped by the milkman and taken to a bunker. Kind of just doesn't really fit anywhere in this story, but also creepy. Maybe that's like leading up to season 2. Maybe season 2 is going to involve the milkman in some way. But yeah, that part of the series didn't really fit in with everything else. But as a whole, I thought it was really well. It kind of unraveled a little bit towards the end because they had to explain the supernatural aspect of it, or reckon with that aspect of the show. But overall, it was great performances. Can't wait to see season 2 whenever that comes out. But yeah, check it out. Them on Amazon Prime. Go get yourself some amazing coffee from our sponsor, Station House Coffee, on Instagram, stationhousecoffee.com on the web. Go order yourself some small batch, single origin, premium coffee straight from Vermont. Let's support some small businesses, shall we? Shall we do that in this time of economic crisis? We support our small businesses and get ourselves a nice bag of roasted premium coffee to grind and run water through it and drink it and get all the benefits that you get from drinking coffee, like waking up, staying alert, get your mind right, get your body right. Get yourself some Station House Coffee. Follow them on Instagram, stationhousecoffee.com. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!